Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 from the Intel Extreme Masters 2022 World Championships. A best of 3 between an up-and-comer and the reigning king of Korea. Let me first introduce the challenger. In the bottom left, the Protoss pieces. Probably not very well known quite yet, but making a name for himself, and how better than to win this particular best of 3. It's Team Alpha X's South Korean Protoss Zoun. And of course, needs no introduction, but for your likes and subscribes and your beautiful, endearing comments, I will give you one. It is the 5-time Global StarCraft League champion, the perpetually best Terran in the entire world, putting more racks on the other side of the map than most players build in an entire season, but able to play the full macro game as well. It is the man, the myth, the Maru. Honestly, not proxy raxing as much. There was a year in there. I remember where a GSL finals where he 4-0'd Zest. Rip Zest, by the way. 4-0'd Zest in like 28 total minutes of gameplay out of 4 games. Next season, 4-0 Zest in like 25. Only Zest is someone who can repeatedly get to the GSL finals and then proceed to get speedrun. In both ways. Alright, every final Zest is in is dramatic one way or another. Somehow we're making this about Zest, even though he's not here. We've got another Z-Toss. I didn't even realize that, but unfortunately, with Zest stepping down and taking his hard-earned experience to his obligatory military service, and the fact he's probably retiring off of that, we're looking for a new Protoss to take up the mantle, to wear the shield and side blade of that storied race who has, more than any other, lacked a champion in so many ways. Someone, I guess stats for a while. MC, SOS, Parting. None of them still showing us those great games, unfortunately. Someone's got to step up or shade in. Could it be Zoun? Ooh, Maru anticipated that one. Not a good start. Not the ideal timing for that introduction, but at least the adept stays alive. Maru timing it out perfectly with the coordinated stutter step volley fire that almost takes out the first adept. That was a bit of an amateur mistake out of Zoun. He's got a Stargate, though. Keeping it simple. And by simple, I mean standard, really. And then he throws on a Twilight before the Oracle is even done. So, really, this is a 1-gate Stargate Twilight. It's a 1-1-1, but not the way you'd think. Maru, on the other hand, going with a classic Widow Mine drop. The only thing here is he didn't actually burrow the mines, which is a little awkward. He picked him up into the meta... What a save! He picks up the SCV that just finished building, but Zoun gets kind of the run of the place now. Now, the Marines are coming across the map. No, don't... No. Oh, this... Maru, well, shield battery overcharge is used. Maru will kill as many probes, pretty much, as he lost SCVs. The Marines just kind of waltz in, force out the battery overcharge. The fact the battery was coming out, I'm pretty sure he noticed this coming across. Maru does this sometimes. This is what we like to call, Zoun right now. I know some of you. Neither of these players is probably old enough or speaks enough English to understand what I'm about to say. But right now, Zoun is getting served. Okay, this is what it looks like. There's still a Widow Mine, by the way. He has to use the Oracle. Maru is over here. Sounds like this isn't what I ordered. He's like, I'm serving you it anyways. Dying to Widow Mines. Marines walking in. Well, looks like Zoun's just gonna do like a big counter blink. Something. Though, I think that sort of aggression is exactly what Maru expects. One of the most... Yeah, what did you say? Okay, so he gets a revelation. It's like, now I know you're going for barracks. Aha! Well, probably could have figured that one out on your own. Oh my god, the Widow Mine hit something. Don't tell me another Oracle. Oh. It's a disaster. Widow Mine on cooldown, scampering away. There's only a few things that could mean. Oh. This has been a disastrous start for Zoun. And Maru knows all the options for a follow-up. He's already, like, he's got his units between his bases. Though, Blink is about to finish. If that Raven gets picked off, no, Maru spots it. With Blink about to finish, Zoun can start working on this. Leads with the Marauders, though. Blink's back. Raven, not taking any hits. Loses a Marine, picks up one of the Marauders. Charge on the way, a whole bunch. A gateway explosion from Zoun. I don't know if this was... I don't know if this was his intent from the start, like if he wanted to follow up with a bunch of charge lots, but it is the lowest hanging fruit here, a bitter one. But at least what he has access to. He doesn't have the gas for a Robo-Bay, and I don't think he'd really want it against a full energy Raven here. Has to recall the Stalkers. Shield battery overcharge already used at the start of the fight, trying to trigger the Widow Mines. We'll get one. The other two still off cooldown. Shield battery overcharge halfway gone. Maru just kind of wedging his way into the third here. The battery is not really in range for this. Slaps a couple turrets in front, blocks the way, targeting down Stalkers. Charge lots, not non-charge lots, just slow zealots working their way in. Maru picks up. He'll get out with some of his units. He kills 11 probes in the process, which Zoun was making he was continually producing probes, which means... whoa, it's not over yet! Well, and then once again, Maru gets a return fire. Getting the medevac, though, is a huge deal. Zoun blinks forward again. That one may be a little too far. More Widow Mine's gonna connect. There's just not any units here. For about literally the blink of a Stalker, it looked good. And then 2 seconds later, it turned again. As the Widow Mines land and the reinforcements are consolidated. But wait a second, charge lots from the proxy gate. Maru didn't realize it, and now 2 Widow Mines being taken out. Only 1 medevac, can't heal the units nearly in time. A single auto turret, but +1 on the bio army means the charge lots, for some reason, these advanced, ancient aliens don't have access to basic ranged units besides Stalkers, which we all know are terrible. Ghost Academy and a Colossus Den. Robo-Bay on the way. So Maru actually going the other direction. Ghosts are always good. Okay, make no mistake. I don't know what that's... Is this a wall off? Could he not walk the Stalker back? Interesting. Anyways. Blink. Oh my... These blinks! Oh, maybe get your eyes checked. This is sloppy right now. Oh. Somebody called Joe, and then at least we'll have something worth serving. Maru says, don't worry. I got it covered. It's on! Ghost on the way. This army does... Ooh, look at the supply. Oh, I don't... Look away! Maru. Those force fields are not helping. They're just delaying the inevitable. I know, the Maru's army shield battery overcharge isn't gonna stop all this. Even slaps an auto turret. Maru keeping that Raven alive throughout all this. The Raven has 0 kills, but it's done so much. A Dream Raptor. This Disruptor has to get the juiciest hit. He gets a Marine! Unfortunately, there are dozens more because this isn't a MOBA. Maru stutter steps through and rips Zoun's face off in game 1. That was not close. I like to pretend I give you the most direct and objective commentary, completely unbiased. Maru dunked on him right there. Credit to Zoun staying alive. All right, but there's a big difference between not dying and winning, and he could not make up that difference. But there's a reason we play best of 3s. Okay? There's a reason. Maru doesn't win every game he plays. Just the vast majority. Jimmy, game 2! No, Curious Minds with a D. Not E. Well, maybe... anyways, Curious Minds. Ah, an SCV. A Macarex. Maru used to be on the same team. Team Prime, by the way. Not Amazon Prime, which you can use to subscribe for free on Twitch and do so many other exciting things. No, not that. But Team Prime. Back in the day with Maru, Pult, and Maka, who never really got very far in tournaments, but was the first Terran genius to be like, everybody's deathly afraid of proxy racks. So when they scout and they see no barracks in the base, they will panic. But in all my wisdom, I will put the barracks where I can just float it back into my base. And therefore, they may overreact. And it is still used to this day because it's still an effective strategy. It doesn't cost you much. And it could force a completely off-balanced response. Or, you know, it's been 12 years. It could get scouted immediately. That's also an option. But, like, both are on the table. Back in Wings of Liberty, we were very, very scared of one-base cheeses, all right? Maru and many other Terrans, it was a legitimate strategy to just build 3 barracks and try to stim up a ramp. Yes, this single ramp where one force field could block and you couldn't break it. Yes, that was a GSL level strategy for a few years. It's like, well, I hope they don't click in time. Yeah. Players have gotten somewhat better since then. Remember, it wasn't until Marine King invented marine splitting that you realized banelings could be countered. Of course, that was pretty early on as well. Reaper. Well, he should have known it was somehow no kills. Actually, great deflection so far from Zoun. Okay. Oh, get up. Okay. Probe at the watchtower. You know, no drones, no drones or probes lost. So that's good. The Zerg somehow coming out on top of this one, as they usually do. Cyclone. I'm sorry. Cyclone? Huh. I mean, this is one way to kill... For some reason, I thought we were in Terran versus Zerg. I convinced myself with my cheeky Zerg-based commentary that we were in Terran versus Zerg. And I'm like, you don't build a Cyclone in this matchup. They have Zerglings. So it took me... you see, that's how convincing my commentary is. I just convinced myself. I was in an alternate universe where Zoun was playing Zerg. No. Cyclone against Protoss has a lot more use, as pretty much any Protoss unit is worth locking onto. Obviously better against some things like Oracles and Warp Prisms than Zealots or Adepts, but it is your very middle-of-the-road I don't want to die to anything, but I need to build something out of this factory unit. Unfortunately, Zoun just moved the Stalker away. The Reaper gets in, spots the Twilight, gonna see a second gas, and spot the Robo. All is revealed as Maru times out the Reaper perfectly. It's going to be the safest of thirds here. Will Maru try anything? Because this could easily... Yeah, he's building a bunker. Zoun, honestly, it might be good that he got scouted. Because at this stage, Maru is bunkering up. He's going to play somewhat defensive. Zoun made the best possible move he could in this scenario, which is just take his third. And feign aggression here. 5 Stalkers is enough to pick off Marines and SCVs, but it's not enough to end the game. Hopefully. If Maru sits back until these medevacs are done, there's a good chance, well, the quicker you take the third Nexus, the more easily defensible it is. As it's not until that Nexus is done you have access to shield battery overcharge. Obviously, it has more HP. It just makes things... You use the energy on the Nexus as well for chrono boosting things like Colossi. So in taking it at the quickest possible moment, he's actually in a safer position than if he waited for a few rounds of weapons. Oh, well, that gives away the Observer. In case you didn't know, Maru, I have an Observer. He tried to blink on the Cyclone, which was still on the high ground. Obviously, Maru not going to miss something like an OBS, but... in case... If there was any doubt. Oh. That was pretty slappy out of Maru. Honestly, I doubt he builds too many Cyclones. This is probably his very middle of the road. I'll let you make the mistakes build. But, yeah, the Cyclone, kind of a clunky unit, gets out in front of everything and has trouble backing up. Relatively thick for what it is. So, 2 medevacs. A bunch of Marauders in the mix here. So, the Stalkers... Scan should spot the Colossi coming out just in time. He's still looking for the stims. Splits. Every thermal lens, though, could be dangerous. The Marauders are... I don't know about this. Good target fire out of the Colossus, by the way. And then the Blank Stalkers get in, aren't quite able to get the last volley. Gotta be careful about going too far forward, as reinforcements are on the way. But Zoun has had the Observer this entire time. And he has an Observer right where the medevacs are. So he's not going to make the mistake of overextending into Maru's Marauders. Maru already handed him a solid chunk of supply there. Maru threatening... This is... I mean, does he not know the Observer's there? He has to know. This is such an obvious move. Maru making... He's telegraphing his strategy here. Now, Zoun hasn't seen it yet. The scan... Yeah, he spots the Stalkers. He knows it's way too risky to just blindly go. Unfortunately for Maru, he tried to take the third on location. That means the Zealots are going to chop up the SCV and are well on their way to getting the command center. The medevacs are heading back as well, and if Zoun is able to get map control here, and if he's able to dictate the pace of these fights, if he's able to force Maru to retreat, then he has a third Nexus and 13 more workers, as well as Colossi. On 2 bases, Maru's not going to be able to match his level of splash damage, or anti-splash damage, I guess. He can't produce off all his barracks and be building a bunch of Vikings. The command center itself is in trouble. Oh, he gets a medevac. In fact, only losing Zealots and Stalkers, obviously. Yes, that's most of what he's built, besides a couple Colossi. The Zealot's still going to work. One thing for Zoun is he's just starting upgrades. He's focused on the unit composition, which is fine. Protoss have probably the best individual units, but also the most expensive, especially early on. Like 200 gas per Colossi after 150 for the Robo Bay, on top of 150 more for the Thermal Lance. Like, that's a big investment there just to get things started. But now that it's paid off... Oh. Unfortunate. Eats a Widow Mine. But Maru does not have an armory yet. Right now, he's on the ropes. Zoun is playing a lot more careful. It seems like he's calmed down a little bit since the last game. Last game, he was desperately trying to fit a square peg in a non-existent hole, and there are many things wrong with that, geometrically and otherwise. But this time around, he's working around the edges and shaving off Marus. Smart moves. He's warping in Zealots. He can hit the third, the main, anything to make Maru look the other way, because he's building disruptors. All it takes is 1 second look in the wrong direction, and that disruptor is very likely to end too much of your army. The disruptor will... It has been revealed, but there's Zealots in the main. Disruptor shot, finds a Widow Mine in the third as well. Triple prong attack, and the Warp Prism warping in more. One of the prongs just got that much larger. Maru's main base is evacuated. The Ghost Academy itself is actually going to be taken out before it can finish researching enhanced shockwaves. Maru scrambling here. The Vikings heading back towards the main. The Colossi and the Disruptor still threatening at the front. The Observer is not scanned here, so Zoun still has near-perfect vision. Going for the add-ons, probably the best choice for these Zealots right now. The Disruptor starting to zone out. There's Guardian Shield as well. Throws a Disruptor shot in past the bushes there. Well, not really bushes. The vision blocker. That's clearly not bushes. Disruptor shot from near point blank. Catches a huge chunk of the armor. Blanks over the top. Hits one of the medevacs. Looking for more, but the reinforcing Vikings now getting a little strung out here. Somehow, Maru is the one who comes out in a advantageous position, at least so far. Another couple shots whiffed. And Zoun got a little sloppy with his army and ends up losing the Colossi, which are the only reliable splash damage. Of course, he's got 6 disruptors, which at some point just carpet bombing the field. Disruptor shots, first volley, looking for more. Vikings on deck, get hit by the Ruptors. Look, SCV's taking the brunt of it. Vikings trying to stutter step, not enough. Zoun takes it back. Well, not this time. A more careful tech progression from Zoun. Not nearly as wasteful with his early units. Maru kind of handing him a chunk of his army early, uncharacteristically. I think he kind of wanted to just go win. He's like, what is this nerd still doing? Doesn't he know I've been the best player in Korea for the last decade? Which is like half of my life. I think he does, but oh, well, this time, though, he's like, you know what the real issue was? You know what I did wrong? The barracks was too close to my base. I'm but a fool. Okay, like, it should have been close to his base. Ah, I had it. And here we are. Zoun is looking for it. Will he scour every location? Dun 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 dun. Uh-oh. You cancel. You gotta cancel, right? Yeah, it's a cancel. Or does he just build another one at home? No, it's a cancel. Cancel it. Like, somebody start a hashtag. All right. I mean, I think he wanted to... He was waiting for enough minerals to be able to get a barracks at home and NG Bay block. I don't know. That's a weird start. Now, there. If he didn't actually cancel these, you get 3/4 back, restocking fee and everything. So Maru has lost time and minerals. 2 of the most valuable things in this life. They'll pale in comparison to Vespine gas. I mean, Vespine gas prices nowadays. Ugh. But Especially with all these probes. These pesky... No, Maru. Maru's SCV is being harassed all over the place. There are no workplace safety regulations when probes are involved. They just get... Well, you kind of started it, Maru. You can't just build a barracks and an engineering bay on his side and expect him to leave you alone. This doesn't put Zoun nearly as far ahead as it might seem, though, just to be clear. He is ahead. As Maru is delayed on his barracks, his command center. But it's not like a walk across and claim victory kind of situation. No, it just delayed everything by 20, 30 seconds or so. Which could be enough for the Adept to be annoying. It will prevent any Reaper from coming across, as there won't be one. And any sort of follow-up tech, like Factory, is going to be delayed. But it is 1 or 2 missteps away from evening out. Like if the Adept dies, or if Zoun takes any damage from something like a Widowmine drop. But he's got the lead. All right? Zoun has the lead. Let's see what he does with it. So far, he's looked a little antsy to get damage done. A lot of Protoss players are like that. Especially Korean Protoss. They got this killer instinct of, I can come kill you now. I'm going to reference Parting's Blinkstalkers, MC's, well, everything, SOS, with the notable exception of stats, the Shield of Ire. Zoun, I think, is definitely more of the YOLO toss. If I think I have an opportunity to kill you, I will try. Even if sometimes it backfires. Cyclone again. This time the Cyclone more of a necessity. Because, well, options are limited. A tank is too much of a commitment if you go Stargate. Widowmines, his tech is so late that they're probably preemptively countered just by the fact there will likely be Blink, and or a Robo, of which are finishing now. So Maru looks like he's winding up for a 2-base Raven push. Will he threaten with his first group of units? Because here's the thing: if Zoun realizes what this is, he sees the barracks. Does he see the second Rex? No. It's actually just barely not enough vision. I'm sure Maru knows that. The Raven will be spotted. But if you see the barracks and starport here, if you're Zoun, you have time to get more tech. You have time to get enough probes to support 6, 8 gateways. If you... Okay. That Robo may have been slightly misplaced, but I think it'll still be fine. He's got a Robo with the Templar Archives right next to it. The Templar Archives. I would love to see the Prism, like the Karen Yelp review Prism. We're just going to call it the Karen Prism. Because what do? You put a Raven, not a Raven. You put a Templar in the Prism. The Raven looks at it like, hey, what is that? Templar pops out like 0 out of 5 feedback. And the Raven is useless. And right now, it looks like with the Templar rush, he's covering the dual purpose of 1, potentially countering the Raven, and 2, circumventing the strengths of it, which are things like Colossi or even Mass Charge Lot, which Zoun has already showed. If he's able to get Storm, Maru's in trouble. He's making mines. He's going to be relying on the Raven. Overall, Zoun knows this is coming. He should be able to defend it. He's got a Prism on the way. At the very least, he can do the Storm Hammer. Chrono boost on the Prism and Storm. Zoun knows that time is ticking down. Maru's not going to take forever to get across the map. That small lead he had earlier could evaporate almost oh my. With 2 or 3 Stalkers dying, suddenly you don't have enough. 3 soon-to-be charge lots. Oh, he's warping in 2 more. How many gates? 7 gates total. Adding an 8th. Single Archon, a couple Templar on the Prism, a bare bones defense out of Zoun. Oh, the Raven! Ah! I'm sorry. The Raven. Ah, that's what I meant. That Raven is everything. The Karen Prism. Oh! Well, I mean, somehow we're at a bit of an impasse because the Interference Matrix locks one of the Templar into the Prism. Only 1 storm means that Maru's going to be grinding through so much of this, but at the same time, Zealots in the natural. Okay, the Zealots didn't do that much, but they kept Maru busy at home. So, instead of a decisive engagement here, it's kind of more of a will they, won't they. On the next episode of Maru vs. Zoun, we'll find out if splash damage is enough to wash away the prejudice of the Protoss against Terran, or if the Terran can take enough stims to truly get close to the Protoss. Find out more if you subscribe. Meanwhile, Proxy Gate taken out, Maru learns. Fool me once, and I won't be fooled again. Storm Prism coming together. Ghost Academy finished. Wouldn't be surprised to see Robotic Space soon. Just to mix up, kind of got a... Oh, the Mind Drop taken out. Huge pick off there. That Mind Drop could have evened the economic scores. Getting it, it's the observer placements. These like off-centered observer placements from Zoun, as well as he knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. Okay, you got to do whatever you can to reveal it. Getting that Mind Drop, especially because he's still reliant on this like Archon charge lot army. The Robo Bay isn't done. The second Robo is not done. 3 mines and a medevac is a big deal. That's going to make Maru a lot more committed to any sort of attack or defense. The mines are kind of your catch-all for that. Especially before the Ghost. Armory's on the way. Army's very tense game 3 here. Like, now, Zoun is down on upgrades, but he's got a better unit composition and economy. Maru? Well, 1, he's Maru, and 2 is building Ghosts. Ghosts are just kind of your general Protoss counter, but Robo Bay gives you options against them. They're not particularly great against Colossi or Disruptors, especially the more there are. That's when you start having to add in extra flavor. All right, you got to get the Vikings, the Liberators. Zoun, on the other hand, probably going to opt for Dark Templar as well to get far enough along. The Armory's done, and that will be revealed by the lack of being revealed here on the Widowmine. And of course, the Observers. I love how he's using the vision here. He's doing a great job with the obs. Though this... Okay, what do you do then? Like, I don't know about that one. He's getting great vision, and then he decided, yeah, just go for it, bro. I don't... Yeah, we got Storm. Suck on that. And they do. And then they get healed, so that... And then they get EMP'd as well, so that was just generally not great. 8 out of 10 on the setup, 2 out of 10 on the delivery. So a perfect 10 out of 10 if you do the math there. Oh, EMPs wash across the front line. The Colossi going to be the only thing to keep all this together. Couple Widow Mines going to make things difficult. Does he have observers? I don't know if he noticed this or he realized Maru was backing off. Because you want to bring the Zealots in right when Maru's committing to something. So 1, he either screws up the fight, or 2, disengages. Widow Mines, wow. Maru's setting up his Minecraft build here. Just polka-dotted map right now. Ooh. Widow Mines find the charge slots, but at the same time, Zoun is moving his army in towards the 4th. EMP lands on the Prism and a lot of the charge slots on the front line. Extended Thermal Lance is done, and Storm is even more so. Good hit across the front. A lot of damage dealt. Not enough healing from the medevacs, but the EMPs will strip the Archons away almost instantaneously. The charge lots were cleaned up. The 4th base is under attack. under fire literally and figuratively. The Warp Prism is precious. The Viking count is pretty substantial now. Zoun has to be a little careful. If he steps too far forward, those Vikings will ruin him, and a concave could be devastating. It's +1 attack, but +2/+1 coming up for Zoun. +2/+2 for Maru. The Warp Prism taken out in a single volley of the Vikings. And as the supplies creep up, the danger to both players and a poor engagement grows as well. Scans, the Venn dia scan there to get the Observer. DT Blink on the way. Disruptors in production. Just filling out the double Ds of disaster and danger and deadliness, which is a word. Even the rocks not left unscathed. Mostly unscathed. Slightly scathed. Even more scathing happening here. As Zoun opening up more opportunity. And a bit of a role reversal. He wants to be the one with more maneuverability than the Terran. As getting caught in the wrong location, the fadeaway shot loses a Viking. Are there more disruptors in the mix? One more off cooldown. They're badly brute. Well, the EMP strips away half their effective HP. More charge lots being warped in. A 1 upgrade advantage and +1 ship weapons for Maru, but just a bucket brigade of charge lots is heading in, trying to drag some of the bio army back. Most of the important units are finding their way back towards the 4th, which is a planetary, important to note. In the natural, a couple charge lots, and the 3rd, a couple charge lots. You get a charge lot, and you get a charge lot, and you, Sir Planetary, you get left alone for now. And I'm trying to find an angle. He needs a disruptor shot to open things up, but there's no way Maru. Okay, it's very unlikely Maru gonna let that happen. A fusion core is on the way, but I do have my doubts. We'll see battle cruisers, as that is almost certainly for Liberators to help zone out and fight the disruptors, which could lead us to the highest tech. The Observer comes along. I think he got Observer speed. He did, which makes a lot of sense with this many mines on the field. EMPs start things off. Disruptor returns fire. DT's blunked onto the planetary. Maru repairs in time. A misblunk. Oh no, the first reveal of the Dark Templar is a complete disaster. Those are so expensive. Now Zoun has lost 3,000, only 1,300 gas. It really feels like 56 charge lots have been lost, but it does seem like a low amount of gas for how much we've actually been trading back and forth. But those numbers will go up. They will grow. 3 Liberators at a time. The Widow Mines are just continually taking chunks out of the army as well as just scouting its location. Maru never committing his whole army to one spot and therefore never leaving it vulnerable to disruptors. A nuclear missile is on the way. Yeah, it looks like this game much closer than both the last 2 games combined. It's down to a best of 1. It could end with one bad fight, but both players are getting more and more entrenched. Zoun is up to like 6 bases, just flinging disruptor shots across the board. Maru is filling out his upgrades, getting Neosteel armor, advanced ballistics for the Liberators, 3 more command centers, and thank you, Maru, rapid reignition systems, and which is medevac boost cooldown as well as medevac speed. I'm a huge fan of that upgrade, especially if you already have the fusion core. It's actually super cheap, only 100. Helps your medevacs keep up in general, and just some more mobility. And Maru is one of the, if not the best player at using them, so high sec auto tracking, fleet beacon, 7 more gates, nuclear missile, just throwing it out there because this is unlikely to do much besides be a significant concern to Zoun. But let's watch the drama unfold. Yeah! Screw that cannon in particular. Unfortunately, though, Maru is now in kind of an awkward spot, and he doesn't actually have the rapid reignition. Losing a medevac full of units, though, he's maxed out, so I'm not entirely convinced. Did he notice the DTs? No, he got distracted. He's chasing down speed servers with multiple scans. Of course, when you have 8 orbital commands, you have plenty of scans. Liberators everywhere. Things are getting pretty out of control right now. Oh my. Some more disruptor shots flung out. The DTs, okay, so they're getting recalled, but some of them were EMP'd, so that was a weird look to them. Anyways, I'm not sure about that recall. That is one of the things that really screws Protoss players, I think. Even at this level, is they just kind of panic recall, and then suddenly you don't have any real mobility for another minute and a half. That recall is costly there. Like, it no longer... Oh, the Liberators are creeping forward. The Disruptors doing what they can, but not finding much. He needs... The Tempests are on the way. The Tempests are too late to stop this push out of Maru, and with recall off the table, he can corner him here. Zoun's got to decide whether to commit to a fight. A nuclear missile! Oh my. But storms from the side, disruptors. I think the ghost died, or he canceled the nuke. Either way, the DTs eviscerated the entire top left corner simultaneously. The Tempests are showing up to the party. Everything on the table. Incredibly dangerous units on both sides. 20 SCVs went down, though I'm not sure Maru's too worried about it. Actually, he's under 50. But the Disruptors are wandering into the overwhelming Venn diagram of freedom. Once again, the DTs are not able to find the 4th base planetary, but there are softer targets throughout the base. And the Sky Fleet, which is usually how fleets work, but since we don't have boats, but the Sky Terran army here, out of Maru, looking very strong, but unable to close the distance. The Prism gets taken out by a ranged turret. The Liberators, oh, well, there's not much to say about that. You can't go there. You can't walk there. There's no walking here anymore. Anything that cannot fly is no longer allowed in that area. As those Concorde cannons line up the shots. Of course, that leaves them vulnerable, potentially, to the Tempests. No carriers, instead focus on the Tempest for the direct counter. How many Liberators is that? 10 Liberators, 13 Vikings, gonna fight it out. EMPs coming through, Disruptor shots, Vikings taking everything out of the sky. Maru knocking down the Colossi as well. The Tempests are no match. Shield battery overcharge, not nearly enough to help. The Liberators will continue to unsiege. And Zoun is almost out of everything. That was a resounding victory. A Disruptor shot is something, but so hard to manage the fight with that much going on. It's not over, because Zoun still has an economy. He's warping in from both sides. A single... Are there any ghosts? Doesn't matter. He gets 2 incredible storms that could potentially turn the tide. Has to pick up his Maru. The Vikings taking so much damage. He overstayed his welcome. And the storm rolled in and the tides have turned. Suddenly the Viking count shaved down, with a nice amount of workers left over. 69 to 54. Zoun still has enough income to keep this going, and he has the most mobile unit composition Protoss can put together on the ground. Firing out some Disruptor shots, landing some decent connections. Is it enough, though? With no Disruptor shots, the Bioarmy can chase down. Gonna find all of the Ruptors. It's just Stalkers, but DTs in the top left still going to work. 14 more SCVs down. Maru down to 42. Okay, I agree with this recall. This one makes a lot of sense. You don't have the money anymore. He actually recalled to the other side of the map, which he can use. So he's essentially just warping his DTs to the other potential base. Maru may be able to win almost every battle, but Zoun is putting himself in a pretty good position to win the war. Game 3 out of 3, assuming we don't have a draw, in which case we'd just call it like game 3.1, but I'm just putting that out there. There is still a turret, badly bruised. I don't know if he noticed the DTs. The observer has to be scanned again. There's still 8 orbitals somehow for Maru. The army supply is slightly in favor of the Terran. We're starting to mine out, especially of the more secure bases. Okay, well, let's go to the Maru cam. Yeah, he's not really looking for it. The DT's out of nowhere. There's the scan, but the army to protect blinks out of the EMP. Maru was busy on his economy. Disruptor shot clears out the mines. Archon's gonna force the EMPs, if there are any. Yeah, there's plenty of ghosts. They still have the energy. Enhanced shockwaves is, of course, done. The orbital count cut down by 25%. Liberators will protect one of the few orbital bases left. Are we base trading? Is this how this ends? Or starts? Either way. Zoun doesn't have a recall. And Maru is Terran. So... well, this army is actually not quite enough. The disruptors will ward him back. I'm not sure who's flanking who, because these bio units are incredible here, but the disruptors can change the whole equation. Reinforcements coming in from Maru from the north, but the DTs out of nowhere. The scans he has to pick up, the blank on everything, but the disruptors aren't in the fray. Has to keep scanning. Gotta hit the deck with the Vikings. Liberators coming up, full broadside out of Zoun. Finding okay connection. Liberator taken down. More disruptors down. Metamax forced to retreat. And Maru back to his last planetary. Maru outflanked. Though, I will be honest, and I can't even blame him. It was kind of unclear exactly who was flanking who in that engagement. Disruptor shot flies through. Maru sidesteps. Zhao blinks in to all of the Liberators. He smells blood in the water, but Maru, he holds on for now. Disruptor shot. Zealots have to dodge it. 2 Ruptors left. None off cooldown. The Zealots are being run through the Liberators. Zhao now with so much more supply. Maru taps it out. Zhao holds on, pulls it together, and slaps a win in Game 3. Oh. He out-Maru'd Maru. Maru who thrives in those chaos situations where it's unclear exactly what's happening. It's Maru who comes out on top, who survives. Not this time. Zoun securing at least a spot as a competitor, I think. He just went toe-to-toe with Maru, and he's the only one left standing. Well, that, I think, no matter what else happens in the tournament, is an achievement. A incredible game and series out of Zoun. And, well, after that first game, I was very, whoa. And it would be hard not to raise the bar from that first match. I think we've cleared it now. What do you think? Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Check out more matches, plenty of Maru, and maybe some more Zoun. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.